Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to DKing Combat Podcast. Today, we're talking about something every single human being experiences, but very few people truly understand failure. Not success, not motivation, not discipline. Failure. Because whether you are an athlete, business owner, father, mother, student, coach, entrepreneur, or simply someone trying to improve their life, failure will eventually visit your doorstep. And when it does, most people react in one of two ways. They either quit, which is very common, or they allow failure to define them, also common. But what if failure isn't your enemy? What if failure is actually your teacher? Think about it. What if some of the greatest blessings in your life are hidden behind the very setbacks you are trying so desperately to avoid? That's what we're going to talk about today. Because if there is one thing life has taught me, it's this: success feels good, but failure transforms you. It makes you the person you were meant to be if you learn what it's trying to teach you. Let's start with a simple observation. Nothing complicated, simple observation. I am sure all of you will agree with this one. See, everybody wants success. Everybody wants the six packs. Everybody wants the black belt. Everybody wants the successful business. And everybody wants financial freedom. Very trendy. Everybody wants confidence. Everybody wants respect. But very few people want the process required to earn those things. And that's where the problem begins. Because the path to anything worthwhile is almost never a straight line. Okay? There are setbacks, mistakes, losses, embarrassments, failures, and yet society has conditioned us to believe that failure is something to be ashamed of. School, for example, you fail a test, bad, you get punished. You fail a class, bad. You fail assignment, bad. Nobody teaches us how to fail properly. That's why we are too scared to even try. Nobody teaches us how to extract lessons from failure. Nobody teaches us that failure is often a necessary part of growth. All they do in school is condition you to scare from failure. So, what they teach you, instead of learning from your failure, they teach you fear. They teach to fear from the failure. And because we fear failure, many people never even try. They stay inside their comfort zone, not because they are incapable, but because they are terrified of looking foolish. You understand how big that makes a difference when you don't teach the kids in school how to learn from the mistakes, how to learn from the failure. Instead, what they do in schools, they punish you. And when you keep getting punished, you get conditioned to not try to fail or not try new things. That's why we are too scared to even try when we are adult. Now, social media has created a dangerous illusion. You open Instagram, you see successful businesses, luxury cars, perfect physiques, championship belts, happy families, smiling faces. Everyone looks like they are winning. What you don't see are the years of struggle, the failures, the losses, the nights they question themselves, the times they almost quit. You're seeing the highlight reel, not the full movie. And when you compare your behind the scene footage to somebody else's highlight reel, you begin to think you are failing. But you are not. Trust me. You're simply in the chapter they don't show online. One of the biggest lies in the world is that Successful people don't fail. The reality is often the exact opposite. Successful people usually fail more than everybody else. Why? Because they are attempting more things. Simple. Taking more risk, putting themselves in uncomfortable situations, learning through actions. Failure is often evidence that you are trying. The person sitting on the couch never fails because they are not doing anything. The entrepreneur fails, the athlete fails, the competitor fails, the fighter fails, the creator fails, the person taking action fails, and that's okay because failure isn't proof that you are incapable. It's proof that you are participating, you are trying. One of the reasons I love martial arts is because it teaches reality. And reality doesn't care about your ego. Reality doesn't care about your excuses. Reality simply shows you where you are. I remember throughout my martial arts journey, there were countless moments where I got humbled, hit, submitted, outperformed, corrected, exposed, and every single one of those moments gave me a choice: get emotional or get better. That's the same choice life gives us. Every setback, ask a question: will you learn from this or will you allow this to break you? I have a very personal story on this one, also related to martial arts. First time when I went to play in another city, basically went to fight for my college team, my college taekwondo team. I went to another city, and martial arts tournaments usually in my country was not that famous, so it's not big crowd or something. So I'm not used to big crowds that time. Okay. Once I went all the rounds and we went to finals, we had to go to another city for a few days and then we had a fight there. First time I was in the middle of big, massive crowd. I got so focused on the crowd that I had no idea what the hell happened in the fight. I remember judge told us, okay, the rules are you don't punch the face, blah blah blah, and that's the taekwondo fight, so no punching on the face allowed. First thing I know, the guy punched my face as soon as the referee says start. One punch, two punch, three. I'm looking at the referee like, what the hell is that? And fight finish, and I lost the fight. I'm like, what happened? What just happened? That's the time I learned. I didn't quit. I got embarrassed big time because all the college team, all the other athletes, they made fun of me for the whole year. You can imagine how my life was after that fight. Okay. So I did not let it go into my heart or feel pain or quit or anything. I learned from it. I learned that when you are fighting, do not focus on anything but your opponent. That was my biggest lesson. And that helped me till today. I remember that. And it's been almost 15 years plus, but I still remember as it was yesterday. So, this is one of the most important concepts I want people to understand. Failure is feedback. That's all it is, a feedback. Let's say something like someone starts a business, for example. The business fails. Most people say, I'm a failure. No, the business failed. That doesn't mean you failed. It means something did not work. The strategy failed. The exact execution failed. The timing failed. But that doesn't mean you are a failure. There's a massive difference. One is an event, the other becomes an identity. Never confuse the two. Every failure carries information. Like my failure carried information that I have to focus more on my opponent, not the people watching, not the spectator. So I should not lose focus during a fight. That was my feedback, my information from that failure. Now, the problem is that emotions often stop us from seeing it. When we're angry, hurt, disappointed, embarrassed, or frustrated, We focus only on the pain. That's the big thing. People get stuck in the pain loop. They keep repeating the same thing in their head and they never get out of it. You always have to observe that loop as a third person. Now, if you step back and ask, why is this trying to teach me? What is this trying to teach me? Everything changes. Maybe it's teaching patience. Maybe it's teaching preparation. Maybe it's teaching humility. Maybe it's teaching discipline. Maybe it's teaching resilience. Maybe it's teaching you to trust on God, trust on Allah more than yourself. Every setback contains a lesson. The question is whether you are willing to listen or not. Looking back over my own life, there have been setbacks. Business didn't go according to plan, project that didn't produce the expected results, opportunity that disappeared, people who disappointed me. I had a business partner who ran away with my business when I was on vacation. So, financial challenges, injuries all the time, moments of uncertainty. And at the time, many of those experiences felt painful. But years later, I can clearly see how they shaped me. If everything had gone perfectly, I wouldn't have developed the same patience, the same perspective, the same gratitude, the same resilience, the same trust in Allah. I cannot tell you how much I am grateful for all those experiences. Yes, they were painful, very painful, but I did not quit and I learned from them. I did not let them be my failure or my identity. I use them as feedback. Sometimes Allah removes something because He knows it is not good for you. Sometimes Allah delays something because He knows you are not ready. And sometimes Allah closes one door because He intends to open a better one. But in the moment, we only see the closed door. Now remember, my way of thinking and getting out of this thing changed with my NLP. So what you can do, I'll give you just a small advice. If some of you or any of you is going through something really hard, really painful, don't let it consume you. Don't let it become a loop in your head that is playing over and over again and you are getting same pain again and again non-stop. Start observing yourself. Become a third person and observe your situation as a third person. And then ask questions. I'm telling you, works like magic. You will start answering your own questions and you will start finding the solutions and you won't be stressed anymore. It's not easy, but you can do it. Now, Islamic perspective, as everybody knows, I'm a Muslim. So, as a Muslim, we have very unique understanding of hardship. We know this life is a test, not a reward, not paradise, a test. And Allah never promised us an easy life, but He did promise that every difficulty carries wisdom. Sometimes we understand the wisdom immediately, sometimes years later, sometimes not until the next life. That's why faith matters. Because faith allows you to continue walking even when you cannot yet see that this destination. A believer understands that every setback serves a purpose, even if that purpose isn't immediately obvious. Now, success often reveals what you have, and failure reveals who you are. Anybody can stay positive when everything is working. Too easy. Anybody can smile when they are winning. Anybody can be confident when life is easy. The real test comes when things fall apart. Who are you then? Do you complain a lot? Do you blame everyone? Do you quit? Or do you adopt? That's where character is built. Not in comfort, not in success, but in adversity. One of the biggest dangers after failure is becoming bitter. I have seen people allow one bad experience to define the rest of their lives. A failed relationship, which I had, a failed business, also had, a failed investment, I also had, a failed opportunity, countless times I had. And instead of learning from it, they become trapped by it. They stop trusting, stop trying, stop growing. Don't let one chapter become your entire story. A bad chapter does not mean a bad ending. Trust me, all those things I mentioned, I have experienced them. Whenever you experience failure, ask yourself four questions. Question one: what happened? Not emotionally, objectively. Question two: what can I learn? Question three: what can I improve? Question four: what's my next step? Not next year, not next month, next step. Very important. Keep moving forward, even if the step is small, because progress creates momentum. That's one thing I am very proud of, that I had decided after all these failures that no matter what happened, I will never quit. I will never quit. I will reach my goals or I will die trying, but I will never quit. That's my resolve. The warrior mindset is not about never failing, it's about refusing to stay down. Every warrior gets knocked down, every fighter gets hit, every entrepreneur loses money, every athlete loses matches, every coach makes mistakes. The difference is what happened next. Do you stay down or do you rise again? That's the question. And every single person listening to this has the ability to rise again. If you are currently facing a setback, I want you to remember something. This moment is temporary. This failure is temporary. This disappointment is temporary. Do not make permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. Instead, ask yourself, what is this experience trying to teach me? Because one day you'll look back and realize that what felt like a setback was actually preparation. What felt like rejection was protection. What felt like failure was education. And what felt like the end was actually the beginning. Thank you for joining me on another episode of DKing Combat Podcast. If this episode helped you, share it with someone who might need to hear it. Remember, failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of the path. Keep learning, keep growing, keep trusting Allah, and keep moving forward. This is Saad Iqbal from DKing Combat Podcast. Until next time, stay strong, stay disciplined, and keep fighting the battles that matters.